All right. Well, good afternoon, Lambton County, or wherever you're watching from. Here we are again on Community Matters, trying to keep you updated daily on what's happening in our local community here of Sarnia, Lambton. We've had many officials here talking to us, which is great. And today, another official, Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Sarnia, Rob Harwood. Thanks for joining me, sir.
Good afternoon, Dave. No problem. And thanks for having me.
I know it's a busy time, and I think I know the answer, but did you ever think you'd be dealing with something like this?
Well, to be entirely honest with you, I've been involved with emergency planning for the city for 35 years, I guess. And, we work on different scenarios. Obviously, living where we do, a lot of the things we practice on are Chemical Valley type related issues, but pandemic has always been one of those things that's been a topic of discussion. And as a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, one of our annual exercises we did was actually on pandemics, not worldwide pandemics, but so yeah, we've been doing some training, and there's a pretty great collaborative community here in Sarnia that works together on all of this stuff. So nobody's standing on an island. Everybody comes together at times that we're needed.
Yeah, well, and you're kind of writing the book on it too, a bit as you go, even though you've had some of that training, right? Because while you may have had that training, perhaps others you're dealing with may not have that training. So there's probably some obstacles there. I know that this morning you were on the primary control group met, and I got different numbers as I was talking or on a conference call. We currently have 49 cases and 5 fatalities. And that was from this morning was 47 cases and 5. But yours was at 9, mine was at 11. So that probably changed. How's the media doing for all of this, do you think? Are they doing a good job of getting the message out there, or there's still something missing?
I think so. I mean, what we do is we get together at 9 o'clock every morning, and we have a conference call. And I've been a member of the primary control group for quite a number of years, which is normally a smaller group because they're more Sarnia related issues. What we've done is drawn in some folks from Point Edward and Lambton County, Lambton Health Unit. So everybody's working together on this. The mayor's on those calls every morning as well. And we're kind of drawing on all the resources we can. And we're trying to, of course, make sure that our messaging is consistent and common. So, from those meetings, we'll basically our communications team will get together and kind of wrap it all into a media release, and then out it goes. But again, it's been great working with our friends from Lambton County and Point Edward as we all kind of fight this thing together and make sure that we're, acting accordingly so that we're following all of the mandates that the province has placed on us. It's difficult because stuff comes up, like as an example, 2 nights ago, something comes out at 8:50 p.m. and now it's time to react to that. So all of us are kind of tuned into everything to do with COVID-19 and trying to react quickly to make sure we employ whatever measures we do to comply with that provincial state of emergency.
Yeah, well, you kind of led into my next point. There has to be some open communication lines at the federal level to the municipality level as well, right? And I guess in a way, thank goodness for technology. Can you imagine doing this with I saw the look on your face when I said that.
Yeah, you know what? Technology is wonderful. And I guess it would have been great to have bought stocks in Zoom before all this went down, because everybody used that extensively. I just had a 90-minute meeting this morning with all of my Parks and Recs team members, and people are still accomplishing lots. We were able to actually get some technology together and get some computers out to some of our staff, so we can still maintain the phone lines, and we can still deal with our customers and everything. We just don't have to have everybody in the same space to do it. We're trying to practice social media or social distancing just as well as everybody else is.
Yeah, because I see you are in your office there at City Hall right now. So, yeah. But I imagine it's kind of thin around there.
Yeah, we decided to go with a skeleton crew, and most of the directors are in. Obviously, like I said, every morning we have calls, and then it kind of fans out from there. So it's been a pretty active last 20 plus days that we've been working on this thing, and obviously, nobody can predict when the end of it is going to happen, but we're just trying to react to the measures that come out and, and protect everybody and try and communicate to everybody the need to follow those guidelines.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know the province put out closing of parks and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I guess that's one of the main questions that people are going to be looking for from you here today. Let's talk about the park and public space closures.
Sure.
Talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So honestly, kind of drafted a normal statement that's going out to a lot of our customers, and I'll just read it to you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And under provincial emergency order, all outdoor recreational amenities are now closed. This includes, but is not limited to, playgrounds, sports fields, basketball and tennis courts, off-leash dog parks, beaches, skateboard and BMX parks, picnic areas, outdoor community gardens, park shelters, outdoor exercise equipment, condo parks and gardens, and other outdoor recreational amenities. So that's a pretty extensive list. And honestly, we've got, as an example, when the first order came out, they were talking about playgrounds. So we have 68 parks that have playground equipment in it. And we ended up buying out all of the laminating stock that they had at Manly's, I think, so that we could produce enough signs to get out there, because not everybody had heard the news, I guess. And so staff have been out there and putting signs and caution tape on all the equipment. Obviously, it's a high-touch surface, so therefore the provincial medical officer of health has deemed that we should be really avoiding having children collecting and touching those common spaces. So it's been a challenge to keep up with it. For the most part, people have been pretty reasonable about it. We've had some cases of people tearing down the tape and stuff, and I just don't understand why, you're just putting people at risk as well as your own kids. So anyway, we've got Sarnia Police, Park staff, and the bylaw team from the city of Sarnia are just out there giving gentle reminders to people to, pay attention to what the world medical professionals are telling us all to do.
Yeah. Well, you make a good point in all of that. And thanks for sharing that long list but I guess the Reader's Digest version of that was basically public spaces are closed.
Well, yes and no. So basically, any of the areas where people would normally congregate and collect in a group, any spaces where people would be, there's an option for multiple people to touch the same surfaces, those types of things are closed. And thanks, I just noticed you put some of those pictures up that I'd sent earlier. Just examples of, some of those, what we're talking about. Ultimately, though, hey, we're Parks and Rec, and our goal is to keep people active and fit and healthy. At this time, things are a little bit different because of this pandemic crisis that's going on, but we still want people to get out and actually be able to go for a walk. As part of that order, of course, it mentions beaches. So we had to close those parking lots. Those are beach access parking lots. So obviously, for us locally to comply with provincial regulation, we've got to close those spaces off. We don't take that lightly. But unfortunately, we're all going to have to batten down for a few weeks and ride this thing out. And hopefully, the more that people do practice social distancing and stay away from other people, then hopefully we can mitigate some of the spread.
Yeah. In reference to the parks, and you make a good point there. People still need to exercise, not just for the physical aspect, for their own sanity, right? At this time, and mental health. But what about and cars? Like Canterbury Park is one that I've got a bunch of questions about. Can I still drive through the road of Canterbury Park, or are they avoiding cars? What's the answer there?
Okay, so the road that goes through Canterbury Park is an actual public road, so they're not closed. Obviously, it's best to keep those types of things open for access for emergency vehicles and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
People can still go for a drive. It's just that you can't be stopping and collecting in groups. People that live in the area of parks can certainly leave their cars at home and take a walk and stay away from others and practice social distancing, be healthy. Like you said, this is a tough time for people. And, I guess myself, I've been in the office every day for the last whatever number of days. So I don't even know what it means about, being stuck at home. And I understand that a lot of people are having to deal with that. But for those people that have to be out, we're out. And for those that don't have to be out, you really just need to stay home and love your families and find new activities.
Yeah, right. Well, board game sales are probably up too.
Yeah.
But how's the public doing with this as far as cooperation goes? Are we having to pull in? I talked to Chief Norm Hansen earlier this week. But that was a few days ago, so a lot has changed since then. What are you seeing?
Yeah, obviously I talk to Norm daily as well, and what we're seeing is that most people, I think Norm used 96% in our conversation last, that as far as people that are complying. So Sarnia is a great community. People are getting it. There's always going to be the odd ones that don't, and like I mentioned earlier, we've had some people that have torn down tape and stuff. Well, hey, sorry, but this is just the way it goes. And this is a situation that's happening in the world. So Norm's not out there trying to knock anybody down or lay charges. We have no interest in any of that. It's just a matter of communicating to people. So it's been, soft approaches. Obviously, the province does allow for fines to be given for people that aren't complying with the provincial state of emergency.
Hefty fines.
Yeah. So, man, nobody put a fine out there just because they wanted to make some extra bucks for the police fund. It's a matter of trying to keep us all safe and get this thing over with so we can go back to our normal lives.
Well, and comparing us to other cities like Toronto or even London for that are quite large cities compared to 73,000 around here that you're dealing with, right? The big differences there. I haven't really heard of anybody getting those fines yet, but at the same time,
I
have you?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that little tiny percentage that, and again, I'm sure they don't want to give those out. So it had to be, I'm guessing, a pretty extreme case to say, okay, well, if that's how you're going to be, here's $750 or more out of your pocket. That being said, I noticed that now that it's quite public, there's a hotline that the public can use to call, and if they have any concerns about reporting people who are not being compliant. Do you have any access, or do you know if that's being used a lot at this point?
Yeah, we're definitely getting some folks in, and honestly, some people don't necessarily understand how to really read what the orders are. So, if you're a family of 3 or 4 or 5 people and you're out for a walk, then you're not necessarily not following social distancing measures. It's basically in your own family unit in your own home. So, some people haven't quite gotten that yet. But honestly, I have been out every single day, and I've been going through the parks every single day, twice a day, and staff are as well. We're seeing that most people are being very respectful to that. So honestly, I think on the whole that we're seeing a very, very high percentage of people that are compliant. And there's obviously going to be always the naysayers that
Sure
believe it's all a hoax. And well, I don't know.
Tell me what to do.
Yeah, turn on the news, you'll see it all over the world. It's for real.
Yeah. Now, when you and your staff, Rob, are out checking out the parks and everything, if you see somebody not complying, are you and your staff approaching them, or are you going straight to the police services? How do you do that?
No, because honestly, not everybody reads the news. So obviously, if we can just get out there and give gentle reminders or let them know that there's something new that they're not used to seeing, then honestly, people have been pretty decent about it and just saying, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Thanks so much for letting me know. And off they go. So obviously, park staff won't be strong arming anybody. We haven't armed anybody with guns or anything. So if it has to go to the next level, then the police are basically on standby all the time. And police are actually also patrolling some of the areas as well. And same thing, they'll get out, they'll have a conversation with somebody. It always ends with a thanks so much and have a great day. And, that's about all it is.
Yeah. Let's go back to the control group for just a moment there. Maybe if you could just take a moment and share with everybody what that is and who's on that or who's involved in that group to maybe understand some of the decision making that's going on.
Sure. So typically, we do have a primary control group for the city. It's something that's mandated by the province of Ontario, actually, and further up the chain, the federal government. Every city has to have a composition of a team like that. One advantage that we've got in Sarnia is that we've done extensive training. We've done a lot of workshops and IMS training and all that kind of stuff because, the potential for incidents is here. We've got the plants that are south of us, and the possibility is always there for something to happen. So therefore, we work pretty hard at training at that so that we're prepared. So on the normal primary control group, we've got the head of council, which is the mayor. We've got chief of police, the chief of the fire department, myself as director of parks, and my role also is I'm also director of the evacuation reception centers. So my Parks and Rec team are involved in transporting cots, setting up cots. We work along with Lambton College. That's our primary location for first option for reception center setup. And we've got David Jackson, who is the director of engineering. Obviously, he's got control of all the transit, the wastewater, the water delivery, and all the services that are happening out there.
Okay.
We've got somebody that's a ham radio operator. Sarnia Police obviously are involved. The emergency community emergency manager, CEMC it's called, actually has a office at the police station. That's where all of our meetings typically are. So yeah, there's a core group of those that have the ability to enact any changes or things that have to take place. And we work really well collaboratively together. So, as an example, like I said earlier, here we are in this situation. This is pretty big one, pretty new one. And the cooperation that's happening amongst city staff is just remarkable. It's so good. We've, obviously in parks and open spaces, we've got a lot of things that we need to do. At this point in the year, we don't have a lot of staff on because we bring on half of our staff in the summertime, the seasonal and part-time staff. So here we are, bang, hit the ground and let's run. Bylaw staff, the Sarnia Police, Public Works, everybody's been working so well together. It's really, really, really nice.
Thanks for sharing all that, because I think it's important for people to understand that just the decision process and who's involved with that. What about moving forward to, we've got events possibly like Blue Water Border Fest would be an example of a very large event, and there's several other events. You've got the Kinsman Rib Fest and Artscape and all these different events. Mm-hmm. I'm imagining that you're probably having to deal with like Tourism Sarnia Lambton and some of these things, or what's the reorganization that's happening with those type of events?
Yeah, actually, all of the above. Mark and myself had a good conversation yesterday, actually, and we are obviously, all of those events you mentioned are all basically through my department, so we're in contact with all of them. At this point in time, the province has basically only extended this until first week of May. So anything beyond that, we don't know yet. I can tell you that last night, City of Toronto made the decision that they are canceling all events and all bookings in all of their facilities, so indoor and outdoor, all the way until June the 30th. Now, that's a decision they made outside of what the provinces have come out with recommendations for. It's not unrealistic, but it's not something that we're prepared to make a decision on at this point in time. But I think anybody that's involved in organizing those events are kind of already aware that that could be a potential. I mean, obviously, at the end of this thing, there could be two scenarios. There could be, I hold an event and everybody comes because they're so bored they want to get the heck out of the house. Or it could mean that everybody is a little bit gun shy and nobody wants to go to events. So it's going to be a real tenuous start to normal life again, this, and we'll just wait and see, I guess.
Well, there's a lot of predictions like that being made out there for sure, Rob. I mean, I do see people planning, hey, we have to have a COVID-19 after party and all this stuff. But our confidence levels are going to change, I think, and how we even go to the grocery store. And, I don't know about you, you used to just grab the cart and away you went.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there might be a different routine to that now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all think differently now, right? You're right. I mean, honestly, I used to go to the grocery store every couple of days and pick up something new, and now you really think long and hard about what you need. You know, Diana and myself have been, in contact with my mom. I don't want her to be out, at her age.
Right.
She doesn't need to be out in the grocery store, so we're trying to fill her orders as well. And it's fun, even when you go in the grocery store, people kind of look at you in a way that they're checking you out and seeing could you be a possible COVID.
Do you look like you're carrying?
Yeah, or anybody that's got a fresh tan, probably everybody's standing 20.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a different time, man. It's a kick in the culture right now for all of us.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good way to put it. Well, I appreciate your time because I know you're really busy, and I hope you're keeping your mental health and your physical health and everything about yourself as well. And thanks to you and all your staff and everybody. Really, that's a whole collaboration for keeping us informed here as well. Is there anything else that you want to put out there to everybody before I let you get back to your busy day?
No, actually, I was going to mention about the COVID-19 hotline, but you already got that one under control. So appreciate that. And anything that's basically medical related, then that should go to Lambton Public Health. They're obviously the authorities, and we take their lead on that. Anything comes out from the province or Lambton Health, then we're tasked with trying to enact that if there's changes that we need to make in our spaces. So, stay in tune. I would, tell everybody to get on the Lambton Health website or Facebook page. And actually, wouldn't normally do this, but a plug I will put out, and I'm sure that you're aware of this one too, Dave, but the Quarantine Sessions Connecting Through Music is a Facebook page that is so cool because there is all kinds of amazing talent in this city, some of which have been hiding it in their basements.
I know people I've known for years, and I'm like, I didn't even know you played.
Right? A good friend of mine from the UK, who was from Sarnia, a good friend from the UK. All of a sudden, this guy's belting out tunes on the quarantine set. Where did that come from? So, it's an opportunity. People need to find ways to stay connected to people socially without having to have physical contact. And sites like that are just incredible. There's a good guy from Lambton Public Health, actually, that started that thing. And
Kevin Mitchell.
Like 7,000 people now. Yeah.
And they're coming from all over. And I don't mind saying that we're doing a Friday Night Music Fever. I did one last week, and it's in collaboration with K106.3 as well. Mm-hmm. And local musicians. We're doing another one this Friday night starting at 8 o'clock. So you even got me singing that karaoke tune in that quarantine session.
Oh my God.
They're coming out from everywhere. So, and honestly, I really like it because when this is all over and settled down, nobody's ever going to say to me again, live streaming, what's that?
Yeah, you're ahead of your game there, dude. I got to say. And I would just say to everybody to find ways to be socially connected, find ways to, help us all get through this together. If you know people that are having struggles, reach out and talk to them about it. Yeah. If you've got elderly parents, reach out, help them with it, help them understand this is something that's brand spanking new, and a lot of information out there. Stick to the good sources, and we'll get through this together. And I can't wait until we can throw one heck of a party at some point and bring people back together again.
I'll be happy to be there and help you with that one for sure, my friend.
Rob, you'll be on the invite list.
There you go. Rob Harwood, thank you so much. And again, to you and all the staff and everybody you're collaborating with, thanks so much. And to you and your family, give Diane a hug for me, will you?
Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. Thanks care.
Thanks very much. Rob Harwood, Director of Parks and Recreation, coming to us live from City Hall and giving us the updates. And there you got it. I keep saying it from the horse's mouth. Telling you to stay home and stay off the playgrounds, etc. And if you're finding these sessions here, these Community Matter sessions informative, please be sure to click the share button, share it around. And as Rob said there, I'm glad he did bring it up. Check out the Quarantine Sessions on Facebook that was started by Kevin Mitchell and a few others here in town. And let's all help each other out. So there you go. Rob, Director Rob Harwood, Director of Parks and Rec, thank you so much for joining me here. I do appreciate the time. And thanks to all of you. Follow the guidelines that are being put in front of us. Follow the official and positive sources that are out there on social media and wherever you're getting your information from. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. That's all the time I got for you right now. Until next time, I'm David Burrows. Stay safe.